Hold up, why do they doubt the kid? I'm about to prove them all wrong again. I got a low tolerance, cause they don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step I progress, no less. Go ahead and place your bet.
Welcome back, y'all. This is the Miscellaneous Minds Podcast. I'm your host, Jesus Dinero, here with my co-host,
Puma El Gato.
What do we got going on tonight, my man?
We are talking about the exciting card this Saturday night. Canelo Alvarez and Jaime Mungia are fighting on it. Let's talk about it.
So we have a couple of good fights for this Saturday. We have Jaime Mungia going up against Bruno Surace, the rematch, if you guys don't know. Surprisingly, to everybody's surprise, actually, Saras won the last one. And we have, of course, Canelo making his comeback up against William Skull, trying to become a 2 times undisputed in his division. If you guys remember, the IBF stripped Canelo. That went over to William Skull. William Skull took the title. So now Canelo's trying to go ahead and get that title back. There's a number of things at play here, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So, Bruno Surace versus Jaime Mungia. Listen, to everybody's surprise, ours included, the boxing world, a number of people came out making fun of Jaime Mungia. Jaime Mungia lost his last fight, and he got knocked out, essentially knocked out, TKO, by Bruno Surace, a kind of unknown French boxer, and it was a pretty big upset. Why? Jaime Mungia is highly respected. Jaime Mungia has had a number of great fights. I believe he was like 44-1 before he fought Surace. Only loss coming to, of course, Canelo Alvarez himself. Since then, Jaime Mungia has joined Canelo's tutelage. He's training under Canelo. And everyone was surprised. What I think happened in that particular fight was, I think Jaime Mungia got a little big for himself. He thought, hey, I'm just going to walk through this dude. He's a nobody, which, to be fair, kind of a known guy. And I think because he made that mistake of thinking he was just going to walk through this guy, he got caught. The punch itself caught him perfectly, and I think it was just because Jaime Mungia is known to drop his defense, is known to drop his hands, and I think that's a big mistake. And it paid dividends for Saras. So, what do we think about the second one? I think Mungia is not going to make that mistake again. The reason I think he's not going to make that mistake again is because it was an embarrassing loss. Everyone had their money on Jaime Mungia. Clearly, everybody thought Jaime Mungia was going to take the dub. And for a relatively unknown guy, what a lot of people call it tomato can, to beat you, especially when you're one of those dudes that, again, he had just fought Canelo Alvarez not that long ago. So to get that loss on your record like that, a little embarrassing. So I think he's definitely going to clean up those mistakes. And I do think Jaime Mungia is going to win. The method, I don't know. I think because Jaime Mungia does have something to prove in this rematch, I think he's going to go in there and look for a good, exciting, maybe not a potential knockout, maybe a TKO or the such, but something good. He's going to want to show, hey, the last one was a fluke. I was the better fighter. I just made a mistake. So I personally think Jaime Mungia is going to win. He has everything to prove. He has everything to show. He has every reason to try and show us, the boxing fans, why he should have won the first one were it not for his own mistakes. That being said, for Bruno, he wants to cement that the first one was not a mistake. He caught him, sure, but he caught him because he's skilled, not because he got lucky. I don't think Bruno has enough tools in the belt. I think it was just more of a Mungia making a mistake than a Bruno being that much better than Mungia. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. When somebody knocks out a boxer in their first match, I never want to count them out. I don't want to count Bruno out, even though I do think Mungia is the better boxer. Only because if you could do it once, you could do it again. He did it one time. Why can't he do it again? I think it's, again, much like the fight that we were talking about a second ago with Teofimo Lopez. It just depends on what Jaime Mungia we have coming that night. Now, Jaime Mungia is a little bit more on brand. He's a little bit more steady with his performances. He doesn't have too many performances where he's lackluster. But this was definitely a lackluster performance, the first fight. So hopefully he learned his lesson. I'm picking Jaime Mungia to win. It's going to be either UD or TKO. If I had to pick one, I'm going to go UD. But we'll see. It'll be interesting. But what do you think about that, my man?
I do think, at the very least, I hope that Jaime Mungia learned from the first outing that he's going to learn in the second outing, and that's defense. Now, I know everybody can count on Bruno Surace because he's basically an unknown fighter at this point. Well, now known because the only thing he's known for is the Jaime Mungia loss, or the win. But I do think, to his credit, Bruno Surace has an absolutely devastating right hook that, believe it or not, has actually taken out a good number of people. And when I was looking at the highlights for Bruno Surace, people were pointing out his right hook and saying he uses that exact same hook against Jaime Mungia, and that's what won it. So to his credit, whether he's not nowhere near as notorious or famous or not, Bruno Surace does have a hell of a hook on him. So to his credit, Jaime Mungia needs to look out for that. At the very least, it's going to be, or at least I hope it's going to be drilled into him, defense, defense, defense. Now, I do think Jaime Mungia actually grinds down his opponents pretty effectively. He actually has a vicious 3-punch combination that I think he grinds down people, especially going into the later rounds. So I do think enough damage is going to be done to I think Bruno Surace going up into the 10th round, and I think it's going to knock Bruno Surace down. So I'm going to say, personally, Jaime Mungia, it's going to be TKO into the 11th round. Personally, I think that's what's going to happen. As long as Jaime Mungia watches out for that right hook, I think it's going to be game, set, and match for Jaime Mungia.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. It'll be interesting to see. Hopefully, in my mind, I'm picking Jaime Mungia. So hopefully we get to see that dub there. Now let's move on to the main event. Of course, we have Canelo Alvarez versus William Skull. Now, listen, I'm not. I don't ride any fighter. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that William Skull is the best and most qualified person to be going up against Canelo Alvarez. So I have Canelo Alvarez winning. Now, the one benefit for William Skull is that Canelo has said he's probably gonna ride out this 4-fight deal with Turki Al-Sheikh, Riyadh season, and he's probably going to call it a career. Meaning, at best, we probably got maybe 2 more years of Canelo Alvarez fighting. Now, that could be good for William Skull simply because, hey, listen, if this man's looking at the exit, right, Canelo Alvarez, you could potentially catch him slipping. Now, Canelo Alvarez is a hard guy to catch slipping, and what I mean by that is Canelo Alvarez is the definition of professionalism when it comes to boxing. He doesn't take anybody lightly. He trains diligently. It's part of who he is. It's not just his job. So I think it's going to be hard for William Skull to find that potential slip up in his game. Plus, on top of that, listen, man, we've never seen Canelo go to the floor. Not one time in his entire career. So I personally don't see William Skull winning this one. If he plays the pick your moments and slide in and out, he can potentially cause an upset. But listen, I would be extremely surprised if Skull was able to pull this out. My money would personally be on Canelo Alvarez. I think obviously Canelo Alvarez has the experience, he has the tools, he has the mental toughness, the chin, the ring generalship. He has everything that William Skull would need to beat Canelo Alvarez. Canelo Alvarez has in spades against William Skull. Again, the one thing that I would have kind of as a asterisk is again, Canelo Alvarez is looking at the exit. He's trying to find the exit ramp for that career. 4 fights. That's his deal with Riyadh season, and that might be the end of his career. So if that's the case, then that's the one thing that William Skull can potentially exploit, is the fact that Canelo Alvarez is winding down his career. I personally do believe that power has been slowly leaving Canelo Alvarez. Sure, yes, he's still got knockouts, knockdowns. He knocked down Berlanga and knocked down Mungia. Both young dudes, both tough dudes. So it's not to say the power's completely gone by any means. In fact, power is always the last thing to leave. But we don't see as many knockouts by Canelo Alvarez, obviously. Now, that could be because he stepped up in weight, so on and so forth. 1,000,001 reasons, obviously. But I do see that slowly going down. Canelo's punch output has slowly gone down. Canelo's footwork has slowly gone down. I mean, everything is slowing down for Canelo Alvarez, and I think that's why he's eyeing the door. So that's the only thing that William Skull potentially can exploit. But I do see another big win for Canelo Alvarez. What do you think about that, my man?
I remember speaking on what you're talking about with Canelo Alvarez, even though he might be eyeing the door, it's seldom that you ever catch Canelo Alvarez slipping. And it reminds me of the what happened in the Edgar Berlanga fight. Edgar Berlanga actually got the golden ticket for catching Canelo Alvarez slipping. If you remember that fight, I think it was in the later rounds. I can't remember if it was the 9th. I think it was sometime after the 9th round. Canelo Alvarez, believe it or not, actually misheard the taps calling for the 10-second. The 10-second roundup for the matchup. He misheard that and actually started walking to his corner, to which Edgar Berlanga actually got a mean right hook and Canelo Alvarez didn't slip. Not once. Edgar Berlanga got the golden ticket. And keep in mind, Edgar Berlanga is a tough son of a bitch. So the fact that he got the golden ticket and even then didn't knock down Canelo Alvarez like once is kind of a testament in and of itself that even if you catch Canelo Alvarez slipping, it's still a question of, okay, but do you have the shot to take him down? And keep in mind, it was all legal. It's not like Edgar Berlanga or anybody was arguing that Edgar Berlanga had taken an illegal shot. I mean, it was still legal rounds. It's just Canelo Alvarez misheard the call. So even if it's one of those things where Canelo Alvarez is on the rare occasion being caught slipping, the big question is, okay, do you still have the wherewithal, the power to actually take it to Canelo Alvarez? And the big question is, does William Skull have that power? Of his last 5 fights, I think 3 of those to his credit were, I think, by KO and TKO. So he has a potential, but majority of his fights were being won by unanimous decision. It makes me think he's more on the technical side, more so than a knockout artist. So my opinion is, I don't think so, but he has a potential to. I do think at the end of the day, Canelo Alvarez is going to take this to a unanimous decision, but is William Skull going to catch him with something is the big question that I think is going to be plaguing everybody's minds at the end of the day.
Yeah, I just took a look at William Skull's record, man. He has 23 fights and 9 knockouts, so less than 50%. He doesn't have the power, not to knock out Canelo Alvarez. Again, whether you like Canelo Alvarez or not, man, Canelo Alvarez has a hell of a chin. Took Triple G's best shots, and a known heavy puncher. It is what it is. He phased them. It is what it is, man. We'll see. Again, I'm not expecting too many surprises on this one. I do think Canelo's going to win. I do believe Jaime Mungia is going to win. But it'll be an interesting fight. It'll be an interesting card. We'll see what happens with that. Make sure you guys watch that. It's, again, one of Canelo Alvarez's last fights, at least fourth to last. But with that, make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and
Until next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you in the next one.